There's only one thing as good as making it to the ESL Pro League, and that is Korean barbecue and soju. Right away, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We're here at the flagship Microsoft store in New York, live from the Mixer NYC studio. And I can tell you, going into this one, there's just got to be some heads held high on one side of the stage, and on the other, they're going to have to fight their way back into it.
Someone's going to get the short end of the stick here today.
Yeah. Yes, and it's one of the guys behind us. I can't keep up this time around. I thought I really nailed it last segment, and here we are opening up with. All right, so
I didn't see that coming.
Listen, guys,
But all right, guys, let's
okay?
get serious. We're going to be going into Mirage, is my handy dandy notebook.
We're at a fork in the road for both these teams.
Yes,
okay?
we are.
And
why is that, Launders? Please
one path
elaborate.
leads to glory, another season of Pro League, and one path leads
Potentially another season of relegation.
Another season of at least another chance at relegation.
God. Well, when you guys say it like that, I'm all but optimistic. So
I mean, the tough part is the tough part to find like an appropriate storyline for this is there's really no clear-cut underdog. There's no favorite, just because both of these maps are like the two maps that both of these teams would enjoy playing most of all. So they've actually got a pretty good series for themselves in terms of both picking maps that they're going to be good enough on to be competitive no matter what the circumstances, as we saw in Inferno, as we saw from a 2-13 half into a comeback and to win in overtime, which is insanity. So I mentioned this, I think it was yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It could have been today. It might have been this morning. It's been a long few days. Rise, unfortunately, seemed to have that one tendency to choke away matches and to not be able to close out games. We've seen Liquid have it from time to time. We saw Straw struggle with it. And I'm not doing those comparisons to say these guys are obviously as good as those teams, but there is this factor of having the inability to close out games, and it's been historically one of the toughest things for Counter-Strike teams to learn, and that's what Rise is struggling with most at the moment, because in a lot of these games against, all weekend, not just today, Rise has actually put themselves in position to take some maps off people and make competitive series out of things, and they have failed to do so.
I believe even in the opening EPL qualifying match, they seemingly had a commanding seat there for a while.
Against Soar. Yeah,
against Soar, and then ultimately, that's just not how the story panned out.
Yeah, it's true. You've been saying it, and it's it's come true time and time again. Like this, and this is the worst example, right? 13-2 at the half, map you like, team you're probably a little bit better than then, and just like losing in the worst way.
From a cohesive standpoint, you can look at both these teams, and I think we can agree that Rise Nation would seemingly be a little bit more cohesive coming into this, so to say.
I don't know if you'd say that like looking at them, but like definitely like on paper, right? Like theoretically, the conversation around this team, when you look at a lineup that's been together for like a year or so, that's been through a couple seasons of MDL, that's at least shown improvement, and then you look at a team like Rogue that has had some roster changes earlier on in this season. Had a terrible overall EPL season, came into this, and just, you definitely on paper would say that Rise is the team that should be more of a unit, that should be more of a team that should be able to overcome these issues and this pressure on this glorious stage here at the Mixer NYC studio.
God, it was so eloquently beautiful when you said it right there. It's much better than I have been, by far.
Booyah.
Booyah. You don't hit him with like a twitch. You got to... Anyways, that's not the point. Mirage, we're going into this, I believe, is a rogue map pick. And having battled back over there on Inferno, now going into their map pick, seemingly that's going to play into their favor.
That'll play into Rogue's favor? Yeah, in terms of, as it'll be in their comfort zone. Yeah, I think like Rise like Mirage as well, so maybe a similar state of affairs to Inferno, but clearly I think like having these teams on LAN right now, the LAN experience is the deciding factor almost. That doesn't mean that Rise can't win, but it seems like that's given.
It seems
Rogue
the tables have turned, Laundry.
I never denied that. The LAN experience has
Gonna
helped.
go with my boy Hiko, best player in the universe.
Hiko's had a great tournament.
Damn, in the universe.
It is a relegation.
We've gone from NA to the whole universe.
Bit of an
at this point.
exaggeration.
Now, we don't know what other planets or Death Stars they're playing Counter-Strike on, but what we can look at is these Betway odds. We can pull up and take a look at just what these numbers look like here for Betway. Now, what are we thinking about? Is that about accurate? Is that close?
No, once again, I think it's the same as the last map. I'd put it closer to like a pretty much an even, straight-up heads-up match. I wouldn't have favored anyone necessarily on this, partly because you've probably watched more of these teams than I have throughout the years, but this just seems too much of like a disparity for teams that have played that are going to be a close game with each other. Neither of these teams are strong enough to be considered overwhelming favorites.
I think it's just that this map doesn't stand alone. I think it's that you can bet as the match goes on. It's literally just adjusted for like the odds now that they're up a map. So
for the
like
whole
that.
series.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm still going to stick with,
Right.
yeah.
Should be closer.
Well, there is just a small tech issue on stage, but we are
Oh, so we're
almost there.
filling.
Well,
This is
You
my
were trying
favorite
to find a
part.
way. You're
Jason-
trying to find a way to subtly sneak that guy in.
Jason, I know you live for these segments, and that's what we do it for. We do it for you.
I love
No one
it.
else.
Yeah.
We don't do it for you guys at home. No. You thought that you were wrong. We do it for Mr. O'Toole, an elder within the community.
Trace, do you remember that grape soju we had in Oakland?
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, but not in the way that I should remember it. Ultimately, got some of my best karaoke out in that one.
I wasn't at the karaoke portion. I was a responsible boy that night.
Yeah, you actually kind of were. But the rest of us, no, not a way, not a chance. It was bad. But I don't think I've nailed notes that great in a long time. Londers, when was the last time you did karaoke?
Yeah, or like that breakfast burrito that one time.
I
That you
nailed that one. Hang time, baby. That's for a different story, though. We'll get that one later. We're going to have some more time to fill, I'm sure of it. But back to the important things like karaoke, Launders. Is
about-
tonight the night for karaoke?
With a soju, I mean, yeah. I mean, would it be an esports after party with a Korean barbecue soju and karaoke?
Someone tonging the meat.
I don't even know what that meant.
Tonging the meat with the
Just-
tongs.
just-
Jesus, good perverts. All right,
Don't
anyway,
look
look,
at
the
me
third
like
map.
that when you say it.
The third map is overpass. Let's just rein it back in for a second.
Let's bring this all the way back.
The third map is overpass, but not before
Pack
Mirage.
this up.
Should we get to a third map, is that the true equalized level playing field between these two teams? Is that where we say, okay, both reset, or how does that play out?
I've never seen Rise Nation on Overpass, so I don't know how proficient they are. I'd have to.
Oh, you don't want to see Rise on Overpass.
Yeah, they crazy.
They crazy.
Cray.
I'd have to look up the statistics if we got to that point, to be honest with you.
I thought you had all the numbers, Jason.
No, I just had
Rain
Nico's
Man.
ADR from the last game, 109.4.
It's good. And you still remember it. That's even more impressive. It's 104.9, but it was close.
You're so lying.
Listen, I can only fabricate so much
Yeah.
before it's not believable anymore.
I don't think. I mean, the tough part with even if we go to that third map, and if you actually want to seriously look at how Rogue just played it, is they struggled so much with anti-force buys and anti-ecos that it's hard to tell how good they actually were on the map, because they lost so many of those rounds, and they took so much damage on those rounds, and they had such a tough time overcoming opponents that had pistols. So, as much as it looked good, the results obviously were just failures. So, in that kind of context,
Lacking, to say the least. What do you think, Launders?
Yeah, it's a symptom of pressure. Why are you trying to look at me like that? Don't look at me like that.
Just trying to do my job here, Launders. I
It's
don't
like
know.
you're trying to
what's-
bait me, prod me. I'm trying to keep this on track.
do you think Shinobi's
Tong,
going to
you're
get
trying
Do you think Shinobi's going to get an op ace in this game?
It's such a weird thing to ask. How would I know?
I mean, it's a 50-50 chance.
Do you think?
It's a 50-50 chance.
There's a 50-50 chance.
Then why don't we flip a coin?
Well,
Trace?
then do it, and then let's see what happens.
Who carries
you got a
cash
loony or
anymore,
toonie on you?
Trace? That's my next question.
You're Canadian,
That was a
bro. I don't
simple
know.
question.
But it's
I
possible.
live in LA with you.
You've made it into
It's
this
not
whole
true.
big thing.
It's not that serious. What was the question?
Would Jonesy? Nope, it's not Jonesy. Definitely not Jonesy. Would Shinobi
Ace.
get an op ace this game?
I'd say it's about 50-50.
Okay, pretty fair odds. And you know why? Because it either happens or it doesn't. 50-50 odds.
I'm going to go with no.
You're going to go with no? And Launders automatically gets yes. It's for the storyline of our desk. So ultimately, you got the short end of the stick there.
I mean, it's the same size stick. But
Good God
Okay.
almighty. Either way, like I've said before, and I'll say again, why don't you head over and check our friends out at Microsoft.com/ROG Arena for more details on how you can compete in weekly PC gaming tournaments. That's right, the ROG Arena. You guys know about that, right? You guys know
Yeah,
about a
there's,
local LAN setting.
Yeah,
over 80 of 'em.
They had a cool event as well out in I believe it was in Sweden this past week.
Oh.
With Henry and Sadik, or I mean not Sadik, Henry and Sponge and Machine was there.
yeah, they're
Chad's
like
there.
doing that right now almost. I think
it's
they
over.
just
It's
finished,
over now. Yeah, they finished
Yeah.
on Sunday.
I mean, just to talk about that, I love local LANs. I mean, my first thing I ever casted was like a local LAN.
I'll tell you what,
And the
I'm
thing
going to go
we-
ahead and save us real quick. How about that? You guys down with that?
Man, I was just about to go into the
We were
wholesome.
out to be in in a good place.
on.
Do we have to? Is the game going to start?
Yeah, I'm being told so by
Okay.
the voice in my
All
ear.
right,
So
you know
hold
what?
on, recollect it, save it. We're going to need it. You know we're going to need it.
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
save the
fine.
game.
Let's go ahead and give it to the commentators and kick off the second map of this best of three.
I'm a little disappointed. I kind of wanted to hear that
It
story.
was like a cliffhanger.
yeah, it was like, hey, by the way.
You got me right
I'm like,
there.
what? What is it? But it does look like these two teams are going to be ready to go in just a moment. I mean, Rise Nation had a unbelievable first half, and then they completely dropped the ball. 13-2. turned into a loss.
That's exactly right. There were many opportunities. It was a strong second half for Rogue anyways, but within that strong half, there were opportunities, such as Hiko's 1v3 clutch. That was an opportunity to just start closing this game off right now. But it adds to that. It's fuel to the fire. Rise Nation haven't had a successful day. They haven't had a successful couple days. It's starting to mount. On day one, when they lost against Soar, we theorized, they'll be able to rebound out of this. It's going to be a mental setback, but I think they'll be able to come back. But it's been, ever since then, just more and more piled on top of them.
Yeah. We saw in that last game, too, players trying to put the team into a better position by making plays that maybe didn't make sense, like John G, or as Stunna would call him, Joan G. John G had a little bit of struggle, but I mean, he kept trying to play aggressively, like putting himself in a position. Like the one round he rushed mid, just hitting closet, and he didn't even get one kill. Like that was actually a massive demoralizing factor for that player in that first half. But here comes the pistol as Rogue's on the T side, and yikes. You hate to see that. It's John G and Moose. They haven't even gotten to the bomb site yet, but there's already just 2 players left remaining. Moose doing decent work with his pistol, has to go to the knife. He actually almost got the kill, but Vice closes things out. Hiko gets the knife kill. What on earth was that?
They counted it. Dropped 12 bullets, run at him with a knife. I just love how the first player stabbed him and then ran away. That did not give him an opportunity to get a stab either. This is Hiko. Dash and stash. Second one coming back in. And a little bit of extra money influx for Hiko. So we'll see where he ends up spending that. Spent as much as he can here. AK full utility as well, and he's pried off one of those USPs off the cold dead bodies. But it's a force buy for Rise Nation right now. Deagles and CZs are the primary weapons, but goodness gracious, Cadian and Shinobi with headshots removing the players from mid. And Rise Nation are sent backpedaling. Moose even right now is actually completely segregated from his team, as the rest of the crew now arriving into the market as well. And it's just going to be 1 and 1 and 1 unless Ace absolutely stops here, and Shinobi even sees them starting to egress out of mid.
My greatest concern right now, if you're Rise, is whether or not they can get something going early, because it's just a continuation of that last map. It's just a reminder. Every time they lose a round, a string of rounds, every time there's a big clutch play from someone like Hiko or Cadian, it's like, God, that happened before when we were up 13-2. That's how they came back and beat us. On a map we 100% should have won. Ace and VSA on a Deagle and a 5-7. And at this point, they're just looking to see if they can pick up a kill here. Shinobi might get his head taken off, as VSA is already in position. He loves this 5-7, but even if he finds one kill, it's likely he'll get traded out. There's a lot of people here building up for Rogue. They don't really feel the need to go after them. So the 2 players that save will bring the pistols into the next round. And that's 2 straight for Rogue.
Great start. And I like the push from Rogue right there. They pushed up. They didn't see anybody. There's no reason to over-pursue that either. Everybody was starting to gather together, like you said. If there were a couple more seconds, maybe they get a second wind and a second approach to taking those pistols and armors away from Rise Nation's side, but you could also lose weapons that can be used against you. Why not just let those 3 guys that are sidelined in the previous round virtually have nothing here? And there's the lethality of what little pistols exist for Rise Nation. They do respect that, so Rogue do lose Cadian right out of the gates. Vice is on his way to exchange his UMP for an AK.
He is moving into a position close to VSA, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Just put a few bullets in him, force VSA deeper in the mag, let that recoil take over. The AK's been stolen back, but it's still a 4-on-3. The numbers favoring this CT side. Ace, well, it wasn't pretty, but he does pick up the kill. It's now a 4-on-2. They still can't get that gun back. Oh, he wanted to go grab that one, but the molly lands deep. He's still safe somehow. He hasn't ran into the flames yet. He goes back down to the bottom of the stairs as Hiko's able to get into the bomb site. The smoke is present to give them some amount of cover. The flick back from Ace as he spots one underneath the balcony. The headshot boost. It's the head peek over top of the barrels off the trash can. The site's been lost, and it will be a 2-on-3 post plant.
Got numbers if you're Rise. Can you exploit that? The UMP has been recovered out of connector right now, and Hiko spotting the player jumping up on top of the ticket booth, but he can't tunnel vision this. He does end up getting flanked, and now Vice in a 1v3, quick to a 1v1. Makes it look easy. It didn't even matter they didn't have any armor. They were still so squishy. He was just getting headshots anyways. 3-0 start, but here comes the first real hurdle for Rogue. Rise Nation purchasing up the AWP immediately, backed up with what you would expect, M4s and utility.
That was a big play from Vice as well in the 1v3 after Hiko goes to the Deagle, expecting a little bit more. Vice going to pick up 3 quick kills. Remember, we kind of highlighted him throughout the ESL Pro League relegation tournament as one of the shining stars for Rogue, yet not enough so that people actually recognize it. Heavily underrated piece of the team, and yet one of the more stable parts of this team. In my opinion, one of the more stable players for Rogue in his performance. And back when they were Enigma 6 as well, trying to fight their way into ESL Pro League, he was a driving factor for that. And there you can see just why. Ace had some impressive play in that first map on Inferno, but unfortunately, every time he made a big play, the rest of the team just kind of fell apart. I mean, we saw that crazy 3K on Banana on the first map. So yes, he does have his AWP, but the fear is that those kind of problems will continue to occur. The flashbang through the smoke allows them into position, but there's so many flashes pouring out. Dazzle is able to just hide inside that A site right at the bottom of the stairs. There's one more underneath balcony, and it's a crushing blow for Rogue as not a single casualty is picked up. The CT side survives with 5.
Sigh of relief for Rise Nation as they win the first rifle round. And we had seen this on Inferno, was early on. Of course, the sides were flipped between T and CT, but early on, Rise Nation was doing some serious damage to Rogue on their T side. And even though Rogue was winning round after round, I think they ended up 9 or 10 rounds in a row for themselves, there was a possibility of a quick eco reset. I think Cadian has spotted Ace. Gets a quick return frag right there, losing one for the other, but you have lost your AWPer if you're Rise Nation's side. The Rogues not out of the woods quite yet. They double up on their ops. Shinobi switching over to this one right now, and holding a man advantage. This could very well work out for themselves, but they've lost him before you could even use it. They start to coalesce into this A site where VSA is defending. The closest player to give some support is Moose, but he's all the way on catwalk. It is a long-range crossfire, but it's been blocked off by that smoky connector. Let the retake begin.
Vice just holding in Palace. It's a 3-on-3, but that decoy potentially scaring away the CT side. It's not something you usually see put into play too often. The bomb ticking away right now. There's the flashbang off the ladder on top of the scaffold, but a kill comes in for Janji. Vice is going to start spamming away underneath the balcony. That means Janji's likely to go up on top of the box in a moment. There it is, headshot angle. Good play. Cadian trying to be in a position to deny the defuse. He's going to get there just a second late, but they haven't even stuck it, and they can't. The bomb is going to explode. All that Cadian has to do is miss a shot, and it feels very reminiscent of a 1v1 that Cadian had earlier today on Cobble when we saw Wardell jumping out after a fake bomb plant at 3 seconds, losing the round to Cadian. I mean, it kind of feels like it was just Rise Nation got a little bit scared and concerned and confused.
Right.
And Cadian wins the round without even having to kill anybody.
Yeah, Rise Nation actually called it quits before he even started to peek, before Cadian started to peek that. Hiko with a great spawn and has the AWP inherited to them, wants to take the shot over the shoulder of Shinobi. Good trades right now if you're Rise Nation, but it is a bloodbath. You've lost Ace and you've lost Dazzle. It's going to be up to the fraggers you would anticipate being Moose and VSA. But yeah, Moose is so lit. Can't live long enough. Vice is on the site at the default plant position as the bomb is taking the long way around the world, escorted right now as well, as Janji and VSA are still respecting this A site, but they are splitting their defense. Only VSA for the stair site defense, but Janji's on his way after that first flashbang rang out.
There's the flash over the stairs. There's one playing stairs, one coming up from CT. The spam through from Janji. Yeah, there you go. You knew it was coming. It does equalize things at a 2-on-2. It's an attempted peek from VSA. Now Janji feels as though he needs to force a play as he runs into sight. The gun's going to come out from Vice. Rogue keep things going now, 5-1. And there's the pause coming in. I would assume this is tactical from Rise. But to be fair, I don't feel like their tactical pauses had too much of a drastic effect in that first map. It just feels like Rise has kind of checked out. Yeah, this has been Rise all tournament long. They've been getting beaten early, and then they've been beating themselves. Like constantly just kind of getting in their own heads.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going on with Janji right now. He's really struggling. Hopefully he's able to recuperate after that first map as the player that's on the end, usually the player that's in the camera when he's on the bottom side of the screen. But this guy has the potential to light off, and he can just detonate on the opposing side if he just happens to hit his stride. But to hit that stride, he's going to have to lean on his teammates for the time being. Players like Ace, his op has been absolutely on fire today. We remember that in the first half of that overtime, Ace at the top side of Car towards the B side of Inferno, getting a 3K. Can we see that again?
I want to say that it's going to happen, and it might. But the greater fear is that even with those individual plays and those players stepping up, the rest of the roster for Rise has been so sloppy. Now, it does appear that there is potentially a technical issue because I don't see lips moving outside of Ace starting to beatbox, and I see headsets off as well. So that would be the fair assumption. I mean, Rogue is off to a 5-1 start. Rise would love to use this time to potentially talk, but I believe it was a tactical followed by technical. It did appear that way because Rogue is already at 5 rounds.
Looks like Shinobi's got the issues switching in-ears, I believe, to that beautiful Mountain Dew colored in-ear.
Yeah, look at that. Now, looking at Janji didn't play with this team when it was Eclipse. So this team was Eclipse. They came into MDL from IM. Everyone was like, that's a joke. IM teams don't belong here. They went like 14-2 that season. They made playoffs as the number 2 seed or the number 1 seed. They got ripped in playoffs. Now, Janji was on a team called E United. The same thing happened to him. They've now joined forces, and again, disappointing performances.
Right. And that was B's Money Crew that delivered that fatal blow to E United.
Correct. I don't remember who it was that beat Eclipse, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it could have been, actually, it was French Canadians,
I was about to say French Canadians.
I think it was French Canadians. They narrowly missed that event, if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, I believe it was French Canadians. So this is a team that's kind of used to disappointment at this point. I mean, they went to the Americas Minor for the E-League Major, and they lost in a blowout to LG, and then they got 2-0'd by Misfits. I mean, that was just a really quick tournament run for them. They actually skipped the Asus ROG Masters, which they very likely could have done decent at. That's actually a tournament that Rogue ended up playing at instead. Rogue also was eliminated. Splice ended up winning that one, getting sent to Malaysia to play in the finals where things didn't go well for them. But I feel like Rise probably had a better chance at that considering how poorly they played at the Americas Minor. I mean, this team has had plenty of experience playing on LAN. The concern right now is that I don't know if this team can survive if they lose here.
And like you mentioned with the RG Masters, I think there was a best of 5 between Rogue and Splice. It went all 5 maps, if I recall. And that was...
It wasn't Rogue. It was Ghost.
Rogue
was knocked out in the first round.
That's right.
But hopefully the audio issue is fixed. I see the big old noise-canceling earmuffs going on, so I'm hopeful that that's the case. But they're still trying to figure it out. Yeah, I mean, I look at Rise Nation and I look at Rogue, and I think that both teams were in a dangerous position to potentially die if they were to lose this game. Like, I feel like there's more on the line than just EPL. It's like the future of the team. I feel like there's a chance, depending on the circumstances and what happens, that both teams struggle to stay with their current rosters.
And it's tough to talk about that, but some of the players that exist here could very well function on a higher level in other organizations. But I still want to see the best Counter-Strike we can get right now. It's almost like we're painting this dark cloud over Rise Nation because it is a point in time with this roster that their morale is probably a little bit on the low side. And I want to see an even playing field between these two teams.
Well, it gets to a certain point where it's like, all right, well, how long can we not succeed before we just finally say, okay, this clearly isn't working. It's time to, make a change. They talked about it on the analyst segment. They said, this team's been together for roughly a year. They've played multiple seasons together. Do you think they really want to play another season of MDL? Probably not. And I don't know that I could see Hiko playing a season of Premier with Cadian. So maybe 3 of those guys go back down to MDL and compete in that level of play. But I think that both rosters are at risk of being cannibalized if they're unfortunate enough that they get stuck back into MDL.
That's exactly what I was worried about, was that cannibalization, where players would go and where would they fit. It seems like right now there's, especially in the op role, in the Mountain Dew League, is a rare position, of course. If you've got 1 of 5, typically you might end up getting a secondary opera, an even more rare tertiary opera that fits in there. But that op role is few and far between. And a player like Ace, the demand for operas is high, but at the same time, it's such a vigilant role that you have to be the best of the best to be accepted in a team that's going to make it anywhere.
Hiko here with that deagle. I mean, that was not the big play. It was really Vice who came up with a big 3K just a few rounds ago to really kind of jumpstart Rogue even more than they already were. It was a shot of adrenaline to the T side. Now, there is a pause, so we're trying to get that resolved. It's a technical issue, but Rogue is currently sitting at 5-1, already up 1-0 after one of the more absurd land comebacks I've seen. A 13-2 first half. They ended up winning 19-17 in overtime, and around that probably could have gone double OT. As you can see, our admins are on the case trying to get it resolved. Hopefully we'll have it fixed momentarily and we can jump right back into the action. I mean, at this point, I don't think that there's a problem here for Rogue with this extended pause. Some might argue that Rise is, Rise is potentially having an opportunity to just reset and kind of cool down. I don't think that is the case. I feel like it's the opposite.
It could help Rise, I think. Just a time to sit back and collect yourselves. But, I mean, let's just talk about the players for Rogue. After a 13-2 deficit, the fact that they were able to turn around and keep the momentum into the second map, it's not one player or two. It's actually a series of players. We saw Vice, we saw Hiko make a 1v3 clutch, and we've seen Cadian hit some sick shots with the AWP to be able to secure the Inferno rounds. I mean, it seems like Rogue, when you have the ability to rely on your teammate, the guy that's to your left, to secure the round, it's more consistent.
Well, we do have a little bit of a surprise here, as it appears the developers, Valve, have actually inserted one of our favorite CSGO analysts into the game. We've got Moses right there. You can see he's ready to go. I don't remember Moses having such a fierce mustache, but
that is a full mustache.
He does look beautiful. But there is still this issue, so we can just stare at this beautiful in-game model. Observer having some fun with us. I mean, right now I feel like if Rise is just stewing, it is just sitting in their heads and it is kind of on repeat. It's like, we lost at 13-2, we lost at 13-2, we lost at 13, and it just keeps playing over and over. All of the mistakes right now, because it's a technical pause. You're actually not allowed to talk. So it's so much worse because all you're doing is sitting with your own thoughts.
Yeah.
So your own thoughts are just playing in your head. You're repeating all of the rounds that didn't work out for you.
For a lot of young players, your greatest enemy is yourself. Exactly that. It's just running circles in your head, and it ends up just digging yourself into a grave, because when you come into a situation that's similar to what you've seen before, your head's not in the right game. You're thinking, oh, they played this last time this way. Instead, you're not playing your own game. You're not playing your own instincts.
All right. Well, I mean, we've still got more updates coming in from Valve. Apparently, they've been adding all of these pieces over the last several months, so I believe we found another CSGO caster that's been added to the game. That's actually a model in T-Spawn that I just didn't notice until now. So if you want to pull it up there, we've got this beautiful image of Blue.
Uncanny.
Uncanny, yeah. Looks just like him. I'm sure that that's Blue, yes.
That's right, yeah.
Blue. Oh, it's me now. Is that me?
Oh.
That's a Q?
I think that's a Q.
Those are Z's.
Hey,
I've
got some good news.
I've never seen a queue that looked like that, but I do believe we've got the issues resolved, so we can stop taking a look at the trash can. Let's be real. That's, if anything, that's Prius. I mean, he is the intern observer for a reason.
As he sadly looks back,
He's like,
look away from it.
it's like looking in a mirror, right, DJ?
Bringing shame. That was a very shameful no.
We do have Rise Nation on pistols here. The T side stacked to the gills with the equipment. They're going to be moving over towards that B bomb site early with the bomb. The rest of the players moving up cat. It's basically free catwalk control due to the fact that CT side's on pistols, so they can't really afford to play mid.
Now, closest player to doing that would be John G with the only deagle in play. Moose is playing long over towards Palace, but that information is going to show up a day late and $1 short. Rise Nation having more players to the B side, obviously, but they are stuck in the market right now, and Cadian's getting a shot at range comparatively for that weapons capability, but Now they're just going to post up and let Rise Nation think about what they want to do. If they want to come up this market, eventually once the smoke fades, maybe Cadian just starts to walk his way in. I heard the goosh. So it's time to start laying down the law. Hiko gets credit for both of those frags, and only Moose stands. So the next round, when it ends up being 6-1, Rise Nation need one of those hurdles. And when we saw things happen in Inferno, that those hurdles were missed over and over again. And when I mean hurdle, I mean every rifle round that comes your way, especially when you're on your CT side and the T side's dominating you, you're unable to save. It's basically with max round loss bonus, you end up with a buy, a short buy, a short buy, back and forth. So the T side has a little bit of time. When they are in a situation like that with max loss bonus, as long as they can continue to get the bomb plan down, they can continue to keep the heat up in the kitchen.
Yeah, what game was that earlier? It was AGO versus Space Soldiers, where we saw that exact same scenario occur. They were able to consistently get bomb plants on their T side, allowing them to buy even though they were losing all of those rounds. They just could not hold the bomb off from AGO. That happened over and over and over again. We do have a 6-1 scoreline, though. Rogue continuing their assault on the T side. They're setting up for smokes over in B. We see the AWP come out, just a singular AWP, and it's a glass cannon at that. No double AWP now. We did see that on the first map. We even saw the Scar 20 put in the hands of Janji, which kind of illustrates the tilt factor and the desperation from the CT side in that instance for Rise Nation. And we might see that happen again. I mean, they're going to get to a point where they could potentially be down. If they lose this, that's 7-1. Their money's going to be rough. And we're looking at an 8-1 scoreline.
Right.
I mean, that's brutal.
That's what I mean. Every round means 2 rounds for Rogue right now, or virtually, barring a catastrophe with pistols. But they need to make a stand right here for Rise Nation. They really have got themselves in a 2-1-2. That one player playing mid, that was Ace. He's in connector right now, and here comes the Rogue crew. Heading this direction. Where is Ace? When does this shot end up firing off? Looks like the smoke actually lands on the other side of connector, so there's nothing that Ace can do. Now it's a fantastic look into the B side. It's going to be difficult to hold on to. Moose does have the first, but the pop flash is there. Janji gets burned on the last tick of damage. Must have been a lot coming from the rifle, but it's bomb planted, and you can't even escape. The MAC-10s are amongst you. Cadian finding that one now, looking for players exiting, even spotting the AWP from Ace that's back towards CT. Just that information, even though he loses his life in the MAC-10, the rest of the crew fans out a little bit. It's safe right now. This round is ours. Let's start looking at the pursuit.
This is very reminiscent of a play you can do on Train, where you 4-man execute into the B bomb site. And basically you plant the bomb on either side of the bomb train, and the instant the bomb is going down, you have one player rushing Ivy. So he runs Ivy straight behind on the flank, because the players from the CT side that rotated from A are likely already in CT spawn and C connector, focused on the fights with the guys in sight. So if those guys in sight die, that last player is there to catch everyone in the back. Kind of felt like that, very similar with the way Cadian was coming in on the flank. It is a 7th round for Rogue, though, and they're starting to reach critical mass as the CT side just can't find anything. It does kind of feel like Rise Nation just doesn't have a CT side, period, as their CT side was weak on the last map, and it's looking very weak here. But this map is a map that skews more CT-sided than the previous one.
Absolutely does. But maybe it does come down to T or CT side preference. Typically throughout the season so far, we've seen Rise Nation having fine CT sides. But this is a different animal with Rogue coming from the Pro League. As they push in, can they make use of any of these weapons? The AWP is already gone. It seems to be in a really awkward spot underneath Palace, but great shooting from BSA right there, picking up 2 and 9/10 of the next one. Vice is just barely alive, but enough to do damage as he lays down the law on another CT, as it's Janji and Moose remaining with just some pistols. But like we saw on Inferno, they're in a spot to do a retake, and they've got max loss bonus. They didn't spend much money on this round. Aim punch saving the life of Vice, even through the box, starting things off, and then Hiko from the wider angle, securing another round. But here's another buy up for Rise Nation.
And a pause coming out. Now at this point, it's got to be tactical. Rise Nation is struggling yet again, and the Rogue train just continues to drive on through. I mean, Rise Nation just falling flat again. I mean, this is just a repeat of that first map where they were on their CT side and they just couldn't do anything. They couldn't stop it. And I do like that, Rogue is picking things up, but it's kind of a little bit depressing. Like it's like I'll be thrilled for some of these guys. Vice and Hiko, I think, are players that definitely belong in Pro League. They're great players, and I do think that Pro League is better with them in there. But I've been watching Rise Nation now for several seasons, working, building, growing, playing CS the way it's supposed to be played. You hear countless players vouching for that. They don't just run around and pug. They actually dedicate themselves to play the game properly. So to see them losing here and knowing what could happen afterwards, it's just kind of depressing. Like, I'm hopeful that they can turn things around here because Rogue has had full control of this game since the second half on map 1.
8-1, Shinobi straight in, a completely blind Janji. Janji has to be absolutely frustrated. He has to be beside himself. Moose is on the op. This is a double op play from Rise Nation's end, and they've got good position at least for a retake. 2 to the market side. They've even got Dazzle that's actually up towards the T side apartments right now. But with all this time, Rogue having Uber in kitchen right now, the CTs have to worry about every step of the way. Now that they lose Dazzle, you're starting to think about saving. It does look like that because I think VSA was the first to call the bugle for retreat, and they're out.
So Rise Nation have no choice but to save as Rogue again gets easy site control. 12-2-2 for Vice, who's having a great game, a great series, even a great tournament. Even when Rogue was down, he was still playing well. Uber's able to catch one. That'll be VSA going down. Uber now putting himself in a position to try and find more. They're sitting in CT spawn, maybe. There's the flashbang. Ace is totally dead. Oh, goodness. Almost didn't get it, but that is a gun taken away. A singular op makes it out of the next round. I mean, just looking at the scoreboard right now, 4 and 9 from Dazzle. I mean, Moose sitting at kind of pedestrian stats compared to the numbers that he would normally have.
Vice is flying high though. 13-2 starting it off on that one. That was a 1v3 for him.
Correct. Well, it was 2v3 that, yeah, fell into a 1v3 when Hiko pushed out wide.
Right. So this is kind of those little half rounds that we've been talking about. Rise Nation have just been trying to stretch that dollar bill out. It's looking like Laffy Taffy at this point, saving rifle after op after rifle every round, it seems. Only now having the op from the previous. The rest of the crew has pistol armor. As Rogue really have just full control of the map. They want to take mid, they got mid. They have these smokes that come down to the backside of connector that allows them access to catwalk virtually for free. And they've just dominated either site. It seems like even the B site more so than A, which is a nice gem to see every now and then. That's a rarity.
CT side is here on pistols. Dazzle and Janji on the CZ75. VSA loves him that 5.7, so it's no surprise to see him carrying it. Cadian's just going to smoke off the window. Kind of ballsy smoke, too. He's just standing in mid.
That's what I mean. They just have full dominance.
Like, they're just afraid. Like, whatever. Like, they're not going to peek me. Kate, like, this is another one. Like, he's sitting there holding that smoke for so long, or that flash, excuse me, for so long. Now, the smoke does go down, but here's Janji inside the site. Oh, he's able to swap out as well. He gets himself an AK. He can't figure out where he is. I don't think at this point he has any clue. Somehow gets on the other side, but they're going to figure this one out pretty quick. They've got to keep their eyes focused also towards jungle as Janji goes big, finding one more. Maybe some potential here for Rise as they've found an advantage, a 2-on-4, but we've seen these rounds go the other direction in the past. It's all up to Hiko. He's going to have to find a 4K, and it's not going to happen. Rise Nation finally double up their score.
And they keep 4 players alive with 2 ops. That was the theory crafting we were talking about early, that Rise need to win healthy. When they won that previously, it wasn't all that pretty. So this is possibly caused in part due to the confusion that Janji created in connector, picking up that first kill just as the smoke ballooned, stealing a Molotov and then throwing it and just disappearing into the fog of war. And that caused a little bit of corruption into the minds of Rogue, as they, though, have plenty of cash. And we've seen how Rogue have played with a lot of cash, hunting players down, being able to rebuy themselves yet again this time so far. And now Uber comes in, virtually dry. Nothing more than a Molotov. And there's the first exchange. Dazzle taking down Uber, and but he tries to duck for cover just in the wrong nick of time. Another man advantage for Rise Nation, trying to pick up some rounds again. They would love to be able to win out from here, but they need the momentum and the ability to break the back of Rogue's economy. The bomb, though, is planted, and Shinobi's working a long flank.
Oh, I love this play. Shinobi does open fire on the first target. The flashbang is in, but he's able to escape. Does he realize there's one here, though? Moose sitting up inside the fence. Oh, Moose. A rare miss with that AWP. That gives Shinobi all the time in the world. Cadian will pick up one more. Moose still holding, but Moose drops the timing this round. So damning for Rise Nation. VSA, the last one alive, and you can hear it low, 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 in fact. Shinobi now gets the 10th round. Are we about to see back-to-back 13-2 first halves?
We very well may, because there's a lot of money on Moose right now. Actually, they've got enough cash to be able to buy up for themselves, considering they had 4 people alive when they won. So it really matters on this. It's up to this round, and it is a double op scout. I thought initially it was a triple op setup. So Rogue haven't seen this card played against them quite yet. I don't think they should be as so bold as they were before with holding on to smokes and flashbangs in mid and standing out in the open, because you're going to get your wrist slapped. Shinobi is the first casualty warrior. He'll be watching this one for the bench from here on out. As now Rise Nation just play their game. Very same setup as they had done before, keeping Ace in the connector to be responsible for the mid region. And that's actually a problem that we've seen for Rise Nation. Not only this map, little hints of it this map, but also back on Inferno when they were on their CT side. Very predictable positions after 4 or 5 rounds.
Cadian with the flash to lead them in, just in case one was pushed up on top of the chair. Not a fun position to be in if you're on Rise Nation. And even winning out 10-5 on your CT side is brutal. But Rogue, they don't seem to show any signs of slowing down. They have lost a player early to that op, which has been pivotal in them picking up the limited rounds they've gotten across the first 2 maps. Oh, I thought Hiko was going to sneak his way up catwalk. Ace spotted him before it was possible. Moose looking for the cross shot. Can't quite see him as they leap out. Moose is missing big shots. John G luckily is in the back of sight, but he too comes up with only 1. Thank God the ops arrived. It'll be up to Ace to try and close out the round, or Uber on the other side. Ace is the one that's responsible for getting 4. Ace is just kind of looking around like, guys, can I get some help? Please, because this is exactly what we saw on Inferno. The limited rounds they were getting on their CT side, the limited action. I keep looking back at that 3K where Ace jumped up on top of the box to get the 3rd with a just dirty shot. That continues to happen. There's just no one there that seems to be kind of following in his footsteps.
Yeah, we need to see the Rise Nation players from history past, because each one of these players, from Dazzle all the way down to Moose, are entirely capable of shutting things down. But this is so fast play. Ace catches a flashbang perfectly timed, as the execution from Rogue is thorough. 4 players down for Rise Nation. It is so swift. Just sprint down mid. They know that they haven't really been challenging window. Rise Nation haven't been. So just run at them. Come straight through here, get a pop flash for connector, and just scream at him into the A site. That round took an entire 30 seconds tops. Get Uber entering this site, completely blinded Ace. Does a do-si-do around him and then transitions into the next.
That's just ridiculous. I mean, that first kill was absurd. The second one, though, was actually quite clean, and he finds a 3rd even, somehow. So we won't see a 13-2, but there's potential for a 12-3. Rise Nation, last round of the first half is a very rough buy. FAMAS, CZ's a 5-7, and a lowly Scout. The Scout's already been cushed, shot through the wall right in the head. He's going to try and flash to get a position, and he's just going to cook in this spot.
Just like pistol round.
There's
that was the
nothing he could do.
exact same thing in pistol round. Ace tucked himself into that corner, and Rogue had a molly for that exact spot. Just a repeat of that situation. At least it was traded out.
I mean, unarmored opponents take more damage from a molly, so he just fries pretty quick. There's not really much he can do. He can't even get across. He really doesn't stand a chance. So it is what it is for Ace. 1 for him. Taking down Vice, at least, is the silver lining, as he's been a player who has been lights out for Rogue in this first half on Mirage. The CT side, putting feelers out towards T-spawn, already pushed up A ramp. We've got, I think that's VSA with the 5-7. Yeah, it is. You can spot that 5-7 from a mile away. He's the only one in the server that seems to like it. Oh, look, it's me.
It's still drawn up.
I'm apparently the entire A-bomb site. DJ, are you saying I'm fat?
So I saw a nod in there. Look at Hiko. Hiko comes in through the palace just at the time. He's going to catch these players in the backside. Maybe he was audibly heard. Most certainly not. I thought Dazzle may have caught a whiff of that one. But the timing has been so just brutally backbreaking for Rise. Seems like every time someone turns away or unscopes from an angle or decides to drop out of the ladder room, suddenly they get peeked.
All right, so we're going to throw things to a very quick break here while we get ready to jump into that second half. Stay tuned.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain, Xfinity, and ESEA.
All right, and welcome back here, guys. We are moving into that second half between Rogue and Rise Nation. Rise Nation just absolutely falling apart. 13-2 to 19-17, and now 12-3 on the second map.
I was wildly
swing.
I was wildly proven wrong on the first map. The first half said that pistol round's not going to have that much of an impact, but it was just the predicament that it put Rise Nation into on that map of Inferno, where it was just the beginning. It was the tip of the iceberg of Rogue's comeback on that map. Is it Rise Nation's turn to start things off on the pistol round and make this a much closer match? Or is it Soar Gaming that's the only team that is pulled up into the Pro League?
I'm at a loss. The last few seasons, we've actually had great success for the teams coming out of MDL. I think multiple seasons, in fact, all three teams made it. This time, it does kind of look like Soar is going to be the only one that gets into Pro League. And coming into this, I would have thought that Dazzle's team, Rise Nation, would probably be the best team to play in Pro League. In fact, players confirmed that when they said they were scared to play them next season because they thought that they might be the team that plays next season in a relegation match, because there's a team slightly better than them that could kind of force them out of position. You can hear the false calls coming out from Cadian. He's trolling 100%. BBA, BBB, ABA, BB. Yeah. He's having fun, and I would be too.
Just
You're
waiting
up 12-3.
I'm waiting for Omaha.
I mean, you have to assume that at this point there's smiles across the board for Rogue. Even if they lose this pistol round, they're still going to be smiling. But if they win it, it's probably the end.
Well, they can't repeat what happened to Rise Nation. There's the B call. It's the correct one. Vice dropping in, completely blinded Dazzle, and it is all Rogue right now. It's a 5-on-2 heartbreaker of a round. Rise Nation not going to get that start that they needed. It's just Moose. 1v5, and the bomb's been oh so lost. All the way on the other end of the site with a target-rich environment in front of Moose.
Moose is going to do his best to try and bail his team out. The bilge pump for Rise Nation. It's a sinking ship. It doesn't work. A lot of trash talk coming out from Rogue. Clearly they had the read. Like, you could actually hear it in the trash talk. Same pistol every game. B contact. They knew what to expect, and Rise Nation has been just hitting a stumbling block. They have not been able to get into this game at all.
No bomb plant there. What a shot from Ace. Thought it was initially by Moose still moving, but a 1-for-1. Too shabby right now for the force buy up in that second round, considering no bomb. And it'll be Dazzle leading the charge through connector right now. His movements are being mirrored by Cadian, who actually ducks out of jungle and goes out through the vent hole. This puts Dazzle in a pretty strong position. Oh, but he took a step. Cadian knows that this position is occupied by Rise Nation. He gets just one to the face, so he's going to have to play this one a little bit more passively, but just his existence here is going to try and turn the tides of the flow of Rise Nation towards that A end, which it will eventually make it to. But great shooting right here from Dazzle. This is an awesome turnaround, that a round that Rise Nation desperately needed. 2v4 to a 2v3 right now.
Uber and Shinobi moving as one unit through CT spawn to try and come in on the retake. It is a round that Rise Nation really needs to win. After losing the pistol, you can't afford to lose that in this type of scenario. Up on top of the box, Uber goes. It puts everything onto Shinobi. That's a big round coming out from both Moose and Dazzle. But even still, you don't hear that trademark yelling and noise coming out from Rise Nation. It's silence from their side. Coming into that round, Rogue has outscored Rise Nation 32-7 since the second half of the first map.
Good call. It's a really dominant streak right now from Rogue, and Rise Nation are going to have to stop this here. They've stolen some weapons, and they're making good use of them right now. A 4-for-1. Nothing for Cadian to be able to do right now. He's alone, and he's oh so close to Dazzle. Dazzle does not check that angle. Does it on his way down. Gets the kill. Doesn't really matter. Armor target versus unarmored. 5 now for Rise Nation, but that clock's ticking.
Yeah, Rogue's got to save here, too. Their money is not good enough. I mean, they can pistol armor, maybe light armor, and they'll have enough to buy. But their money's sitting around 3K. I think they're going to approach the round similarly to the way that Rise approached it in their second half when they switched sides, knowing that there's no reason to force anything because of the fact that they've got such a pretty big lead. They'll just fall back on pistols, save up as much cash as possible, stack the buy, get maybe 2 ops in play, use lots of utility, etc. And that is, in fact, the call. They do manage to at least pick up one. Good damage dealt by the second as well, but Ace just keeps on holding down Mouse 1. Gonna fall onto Uber and Cadian, a 2v4. Maybe one more kill coming out for the CT side.
Yeah, VSA is vulnerable on the endangered list. And those CTs are gonna start to group up, possibly near jungle. It doesn't look like Uber is willing to commit to coming up so close, and by doing so, he is all in the open across that market, and Dazzle takes him. So this leaves Cadian alone to look for that squishy target. Dazzle's vulnerable-ish, still going to take 2 shots, not necessarily 2 headshots. Cadian is just now a snake in the grass. There it is. Got one. Can he steal the weapon? I don't know if he can escape. He doesn't quite. VSA from range with the FAMAS, all the way back from just below ticket booth. But another good round for Rise Nation. Keeping money out of the hands of Rogue that didn't spend much into that one anyways. But this is the challenge. It's an op and full M4s as well as utility for Rogue. This is where Rise have had trouble.
Smoke's gonna go out, landing in the window. Oh, maybe not.
About that.
You hate to see it. You really do. It's not the first time we've seen a missed window smoke. One of the smokes that's largely touted as one of the easiest. However, there's no one window anyway. It's Hiko and Connector that really does the brunt of the damage. Shinobi's going to abuse that smoke on Catwalk. That's a great way to get yourselves back into the game. Cadian set up at Ticket with the AWP. They know the other op is on Shinobi. Shinobi has been desperately hoping to be given the op role after being basically replaced as the opper by Cadian. And he had that crazy ace from Ticket Booth earlier on. And here he actually does go big as well, picking up 2 kills. Cadian doesn't even really fire a shot. It's Uber to get the last one as well. It's 14 now for Rogue. The money for Rise is going to be spent.
It's mid defense right now. Hiko picking up that first kill, I think Jonji was the only player that recognized Hiko's position, because there was another player just at the threshold underneath stairs or on the jungle side, one way or the other, left or right. But that allows Hiko to pick up that second frag as well. It's just like we were talking about before, Rogue are relying on one another to execute more fruitfully. And by doing so, you were talking about that huge onslaught of rounds that are headed their way. It's going to be another fast play. Rise Nation attempting to run out on this one, a 1-for-1. Now Uber is still behind the van, but he has been absolutely stomped by VSA. 4 on 3. Bomb now being planted. Rogue don't have a great look at this one, considering all these players for the T-side are healthy, and I think this is the right move. Just get out of here. You've got such a cushion in front of you. It's going to end up being 7-14. You're able to double up on your opponents. Keep those dollars in your pocket.
Yeah, but in NA fashion, and in also this match's fashion, large cushions don't seem to help. As the big leads have clearly been fumbled away more than once. I think it's something in the air here in New York, as it's been an issue throughout the Premier Playoff, or the MDL Playoff final matches, and the MDL Global Challenge, and ESL Pro League Relegation. It's been an issue in all 3 places. Teams have a very difficult time closing things out. I mean, we saw this with Rise Nation in their first map against Soar. 10-5 halves weren't enough, and we do have a pause coming in. I'm going to assume this is tactical, potentially coming in from Rogue, because they're realizing, hey, you know, we've got these timeouts. Why not use them? Maybe we can put something creative out there and just get our 15th round and be done with it.
They don't even have to put anything creative out there. Rise Nation have struggled all match long against themselves on just the decision-making basis. So by Rogue taking a timeout here, they don't even have to change anything. What they've done is inserted the idea that they are going to change something. So you've basically, what you've done is, if you've had success so far on your CT side and what your default actually is, Rise Nation now have to put that into question. Was that timeout talking about how they're going to change that default?
You gotta wonder what the conversation was there. As we did see the pause come in. Nades pouring out. An early mid control for Rise Nation. We've been mentioning it all tournament long, the meta development on Mirage that's seen the shift to easy mid control with just a few smokes and a molly. And Rise Nation is trying to abuse that right now. The CT side on a lonely op, double M4, the pistols are all they have on the other side, but Cadian delivers with the first shot. Hiko's in a great position as well. If his teammate in sight can kind of bait them out, that would be Vice. But here comes the push up catwalk from the T side as they're operating on a man disadvantage.
Well, Cadian hit that shot. That was the crack shot through the apartments at B, and that allows confidence for Uber to push through the apartments now. I believe he's at the top end of the stairs, and he's searching for others, but that's extra information for the site. Not only to A, but also a thorn in the side of Rise Nation, because they're not going to anticipate that this could be CT territory now. They want B. They absolutely do. They have catwalk control. Uber takes that shot and wisely just falls right on back. This completely neuters Rise Nation's push, because they would want to have all this apartment control. That's where there's strength here. With Uber and Cadian still on the B site, there's nothing to do for Ace. 1v5. It's a disaster, and you still have all these flanks coming around the map. Hiko now coming across T-spawn with only 20-some seconds in the round. This one has been just, it's a disassembly, a disarmament of Rise Nation.
And there it is, that 15th round comes in. We mentioned it, Rogue was just looking for whatever it would be to potentially grab their 15th. And they are now at a point where they could be moving back into ESL Pro League after a very rocky, tumultuous season. There's the shot from Cadian. Barely saw anything, pulling the trigger on a target that was trying to jiggle, peek, and fire.
Jiggle peeking on land's scary.
Yeah, it's a lot different than it is online. You can get away with a lot more online than you can on land.
So what could be the last round? Just good setup for Rogue to take that one save round a couple rounds ago. Keep the money and rifles on their end. It's a matter of time. Just as Rise Nation were in the same predicament in the first map of Inferno, Rogue, though, were able to execute. Now they want to do a set strat into the A site with only Jonji coming across through connector. Shinobi, if he advances far enough, he's going to catch him. Oh no, Jonji was able to sneak underneath the radar. He's now up into connector, deeply so. The rest of the team is starting to come in, but now you don't have a 3-prong attack, you have a 2-prong attack coming in. Vice is able to defend. That's a second kill for him, and he's still alive. Dancing around the triple box. A flash comes in, but Dazzle's able to hit it while fully blind. But bodies are starting to fall for the CTN. They still stand on the great spots, and a long flank coming all the way around the world, that being Uber. Rogue could just lit him into the site and play retakes. Likely to lose a body just in the process of planting, but instead you lose Shinobi.
VSA trying to plant safe, dodges the bullet spray coming in, but Uber again on that flank. Would have liked to see him get a little bit more trigger discipline as he could have spotted this second target, and there's the tap shots. It's all up to Dazzle. A 1v2, and he's certainly got a chance as both CTs are focusing to other sections of the map.
Dazzle's got this.
He's got this read like a book. The smoke's down. He's going to hear it, and there's the lineup. A big play coming out from Dazzle to keep the game alive, but Rogue kind of losing that one in the middle of the round. It looked like they had it in the bag. Instead, play will continue on.
Long trip from Dazzle. Let's look at this. It's just the way the stars align sometimes. Both players are lit. Obviously, the one defusing the bomb was at 1 HP, but really 1 bullet was all that was needed from Dazzle to tap them both down. And that's a great way to win a 2v1, is just line them up like bowling pins. So Rise Nation are still hurting. My goodness, are they still hurting. They can only afford AKs and 2 Galils here. Mid-control, all Rise Nation. May have been something audibly heard for Catwalk here. I don't know who made that cat call. Dazzle's in connector, uncontested. Just like Janji was in the previous round.
It sounded like Shinobi, and it would be probable as he was close to Catwalk at the time. But here comes the push into this A site. They've got a crossfire set up here. Here comes the double peek. Hiko only able to get 1. He needed Vice to help him out, but it still falls down onto 2. Janji and Moose. And Janji's kind of alone on site. He just has to stick the plant again. The flank is coming through. The big piece of this puzzle is Moose's position. Now, luckily enough for Janji, he's able to get away. Moose is watching the vent just to make sure his teammate can get in position. He's sitting up on top of the scaffold, so he's not an immediate risk. And the retake continues to march forward. They have so much utility. They could realistically drop like 4 smokes all over the place and just try and defuse inside of it.
Moose better be looking where that bomb is, because it's going to be obscured soon enough, but he's still up on the rafters right now. First smoke comes in, 2 smokes on the bomb, 1 to connector. It's a thick soup of things. Janji's got that first frag, 2 on 2, but Shinobi's got it. Now Moose, where's the bomb? It's been completely lost to him. The smoke's there, and it's going to be defused in 1 second. Moose, just like in the previous couple rounds from Dazzle, was able to line up 2 players and barely skirt their way by on another round.
No reaction from Moose whatsoever. I mean, this was so close. If they had been able to find the bomb and stick it just a second or 2 sooner, maybe. But Moose just continues to spray. Fear starting to strike as hard as he gets deeper into that magazine. It's a 9th round for Rise. There's still a chance. The CT side is broke. It's going to be pistols coming out as Moose has found the inner being that he has just unlocked. It's a completely different beast now as the T side of Rise Nation continues to do what it did on Inferno, looking so much stronger than their CT side.
But already there's comfortability for Rogue. They're on 15. Like they had done previously, the rounds, let the rounds come to you. Don't have to try and push anything. Let that money influx come in, and I mean, with them being at 15, they'll be at max loss bonus quite well before Rise Nation are into some, it's only going to take a handful more rounds. Actually, sorry. Obviously, Rise Nation winning 2, so they need 3 more, including this one. So, money on the way. Is that round on the way, though, or can Rise Nation win 6 more?
Katie with just a P250. He's just chilling in apartments right now. They're going to surround him at that point. There's bodies all around, just hoping to hold on to P250. Janji will sink the blade in. And finally, some excitement and noise from Rise Nation. They're finally waking up. It's like they've realized, okay, well, now that we hit double-digit rounds and we're only down 5, it's okay for us to get a little bit louder.
I heard one faint woo.
Woo, yeah, there was a woo. I think that was Janji who was smiling as well. Pretty heavy grin as he was thrilled to pick up that knife.
It's like when the roosters start waking up.
I wouldn't know. We don't really have roosters in New Jersey.
I live in the boonies.
Yes, you do.
All right. Pistols again. It's like I'm talking about. Rogue just wants the rounds to come to them. The thing is, Rise Nation previously would have had to win rounds pretty healthy to start to stack up that cash, because if they keep winning rounds like they had been, 1v2, and they end up flushing those out, their money struggles. But they just got a knife last round. So that will at least help things out in the meantime. Shinobi's looking to do some damage, but that AK is cursed at this point. Don't want to be able to pick that one up. Uber, he's pinned up against the wall. Peeks out with the CZ, does some damage, but now it's just up to Vice. Chip away, boys. 15-11. At what point does Rogue start to worry?
You know, I think they could probably even call a pause here since this is like a big buy and they could talk things over, but you've guaranteed overtime at the very least. The question is whether or not you actually want to play it. Because this is honestly just feeling so much like that first map. It's starting almost to become a meme. If this one goes to overtime and Rise takes it,
Yeah.
we'll just let Auto Director take over. We'll just head home.
We'll just watch.
Because I don't. Yeah, there you go.
We'll just
DJ
watch the entire match from the T sides.
DJ disagrees.
Okay, huge round. Rogue finally have themselves weapons. Single up. That's all they feel they need. Moose peeking out, spotting one player at the top end of the connector. There is, however, a second up there. That's Vice giving some support. Now, that same smoke that Rogue was using to abuse the top end of connector just landed for Rise Nation. So this is very thick, and Dazzle's looking for frags, but he's not going to be able to find anything until it all clears up. He executes to the B site, but you have a CT. I believe Uber up in the kitchen.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of play he's cooking up right now. He's been spotted, but he actually does take down Janji. He can drop a molly on site, but he's got to wait for his teammate to get in position. VSA tried to plant.
70 damage.
Took a ton of damage from that molly. The incendiary just tearing through him. So it's Ace and VSA, 15-11. A 3-on-2. Rogue has the numbers, and it likely could be a round that goes their way, but with the way that Rise Nation has been playing in the clutch, it's certainly possible that play continues. The bomb's been planted, the site's been secured. It's a push that's coming in from both Catwalk and Apartments. They know the Apartments play is coming, and now they've spotted the players in Catwalk. Yikes, what a shot from Ace. Uber gets dinked, or gets the dink shot immediately onto Ace. Another one from Ace. It's down to Vice now in a 1v2. There's still possibility. He does have a kit, but he's got to move quickly, and he gets spotted by VSA. It is a huge clutch yet again from Rise Nation. The game continues on.
Rely on Ace. He'll carry you to salvation. Let's watch this. Jumping up, feet just touching the top of that barrel and letting loose.
Reminiscent of that shot on Inferno where he jumped up on top of the hay bales, barely got the shot off. It's the same thing, just instant reaction to the... As soon as his feet touch the ground, he's pulling the trigger.
Here we go. 3 rounds separating Rise Nation's life into at least extending their opportunity for Pro League. But Cadian hits a shot on a transferring Dazzle. Very long W, and ASD strafes left and right as it's now man advantage to Rogue. But they've been familiar with this a couple times. It's really come down to Rise Nation's clutch capability. And I think they've gotten a shock of life because of those. Each player seems to be chiming in with a little bit of flavor of their own.
Shinobi now, moving around. Janji should hear the footsteps. Again, Rogue has a man advantage, and they double stack over top of the pipe box towards CT, using the trash can to boost them up over and get them some vision. Now the player on top of stairs, that's going to be Shinobi. We saw him go big previously in this tournament to try and keep his team alive. It was the AWP ace from triple stack. Just 1 kill for him here, though. But it is a 4-on-3. The man advantage still maintained by Rogue. Again, you've got Ace alive with the AWP, the X factor, if you will, for Rise Nation. Several times he's been the big hitter. When necessary, he's stepped up. Moose has done the same as well. Tournament hopes on the line, Pro League hopes on the line. And there's the shot from Moose to send Vice packing. It's another 3-on-3. The nade's going to go down, or is it? Hiko decides not to throw as the flash hits him in the face. The nade does a little bit of damage. Nope. It's going to be 2 quick kills coming in, and now it's all up to Ace. It's a 1v3, and he's stuck on site. He's not in a great position. Already spotted, and there it is. Rogue will be moving into the next season of ESL Pro League. As you can hear the celebratory woos and wows, Rise Nation had so many opportunities. First they lose to Soar, then they drop out of MDL Global Challenge, and now here, losing to Rogue in somewhat depressing fashion. I mean, you're up 13-2, and then you lose the first map, and now this happens. But to talk about that and to congratulate our victors here, we'll throw things over to the analysts. Take it away.
Thank you very much, guys, and great work over on your end as well. Guys, we have had 2 Pro League teams defend their spots within the league itself. Ghost Gaming and now Rogue joining that fold. Talk to me about this matchup, Launders.
Status quo wins again.
You were doubting Hiko all weekend.
I mean, no, I wasn't doubting Hiko all weekend. He was consistent the whole weekend. 180 R, 30 kills. Like, he has been like.
He's slaying it.
Yeah, he has
That
been
is
slaying
true.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was just kind of I don't know. It's tough with that kind of a comeback from Rogue on the second map to kind of bounce back from that. Like, it's just not an easy thing to do in this kind of a situation with this much at stake, coupled onto. I mean, you just have to say it. That was an extremely disappointing weekend. 4 days, 5 days for Rise this whole time. Like, they have never found their footing in this tournament or any of the little competitions that went on.
Very much so. And it's very unfortunate. Starting from day one, you know, they had that sort of momentum. Maybe they could have ran with that. They could have beat Soar. That's just not what happened.
Yeah.
And then as the story unfolds, now they find themselves here, backs against the wall. And unfortunately, it didn't go their way. But what would you say, or what could you say about this Rise Nation lineup going forward?
I think they're awesome. I think if they could have competed in Pro League, and but they did have to earn it. They'd have to do this exact same thing again, just like everybody else who wants to get into Pro League. And you know, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the roster changes because of this. This is a pretty tough loss to take as a team, and most people withstand far less, and they've already been together for so long. So I wouldn't fault them for it. I would hope that they would stay together as maybe a core at least, and you know, try to replace people who you felt weren't working together well enough, and move forward. But yeah, you know, part of me was hoping to have a new injection of new talent, but it also has to be earned, and the guys defending did a great job defending.
Well, the guys that have defended it would be Rogue. That's right. We have Blue standing by with Spencer Hiko Martin for a quick word or two.
My man.
All right, thank you very much, Stunna. Yes, we have Hiko here. So you guys have defended your Pro League spot successfully, the second team today to do so. Let's get some immediate thoughts on being able to accomplish that.
Yeah, we definitely had a really rough season, just online in general. All the roster changes we've had, all the problems we've had with players and maps, and it was pretty rough. Obviously, we didn't want to see ourselves at the relegation in general, but obviously I'm happy that we were able to actually stay in Pro League.
So in preparation for this, and specifically once you had the bracket formed and everything like that, were you guys worried at all about your ability to make it through this bracket and actually re-qualify for Pro League, or was there a pretty good confidence amongst the team?
We had pretty good confidence. Rise actually, they've been very, very good online. They've been actually just like destroying us every time we play, and we were unsure what to expect. Luckily, we were able to watch them for MDL and even GX. They seem to have some problems. I don't know what's going on with them. I talked to them a little bit, and they're having some internal problems, both of them. So I don't know. Definitely expected to make it through to Pro League. I know a lot of people didn't expect us to, but I think we were all pretty confident.
And now looking into the future, into the next season of Pro League and beyond that, what's your goal with this squad? What are you guys trying to build towards in the next, I'd say, like 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, I think with just a stable lineup, just a stable team in general, you know, with Wrath at the beginning, and then we had to use Whitmer at the beginning. I feel like a broken record keep talking about these roster problems we had, but at the same time, I think if we were able to have a stable roster this whole season, it would have been much different. So I think that's like option number one, or priority number one for moving into next season, is actually having a stable roster, having, you know, chemistry that we can build on, and hopefully we're not just like pugging a lot of these matches online.
And now talking about you specifically in these next year, because obviously you've been out of kind of the limelight for a little bit with this team. How are you looking to get back into that and bring yourself back to your old form, back on, you know, the Cloud9 days, and even 2016 when you were on Team Liquid?
Yeah, I think I just need to find like consistency in the way I play. I've taken a lot of roles over the past year or two that I just didn't like, things I wasn't comfortable in doing. And I think I'm moving more towards a consistent, solid play, which I think, I mean, it showed in one of the maps, at least today, that if I'm hitting my shots, I can play well. So I think just in general, at least myself, I just need to keep playing more. And, you know, with the option of like having a stable roster and having, you know, being able to build up on chemistry, I think we'll actually be, I think we can be a top team, and I think I can be maybe not what I once was, but hopefully pretty close.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time, Hiko. I do appreciate that. Congratulations on qualifying once again. For now, though, we are going to send it back to the analysis desk. So, Stunna, take it away.
Thank you, Blue, and thank you, Spencer. A great showing here of Force by Hiko, and definitely looking good.
What did you just say?
Showing of Force by Hiko.
Oh, I
Gotcha.
thought you called him Forced by Hiko.
Yeah.
Like on the idea of like budget launders all weekend with E-mode.
Maybe it
Nope,
was a
sometimes it's not
50-50.
all about the jabs, boys. Sometimes it's about serious business, and that's what we're all about right here at the Mixer NYC studio.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. Let's go ahead and take a look at the brackets, though, in case you're joining us. You're also late for the party, but we can take a look at these brackets and kind of,
This is
paint
kind
the
of
proper
like
picture.
watching your friends be at the party on Snapchat or something. Like,
Yes.
you know, you're just watching their stories go by
Yeah, you've done that?
once or twice.
I have a feeling it's been once or twice. Either
send you
way,
more
you do
snaps.
see Ghost Gaming and Rogue retaining the Pro League spots. And Launders, please walk us through the rest of the bracket.
Yeah, where'd you start? So, whoa.
He started on the right and went left, so he did it backwards.
Okay.
It's all right. You did great.
That was a quick
We were
party.
here for it. So
You
we
did
were here for
great.
the whole
I
thing.
tell you what,
That's
though.
back at the party.
There we go.
just a
Okay, GX. So, Rise beat GX 2-0 in the lower bracket after they got knocked down, and then that was actually kind of that was like the first good match Rise had at the tournament almost, right? It was like their first win, first of all, and then
You've done a really good job, Launders. Take it away, Sana.
Yeah, where would you like to take it, Jason? Would you like to take it to the end of the day? Because I think that's where we're going next. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We've had a great time here at the Mixer NYC studio at the flagship Microsoft store in New York. That's right. For the final time, we're signing off, and we'll see you next season.
Annyeong.